Hello, welcome to the first ever Damage Gaming podcast. Today I'm here with me being the owner of the org, of course, very prestigious, big position. I'm here with Side Damage carry player Bull. Side Damage is our Crusader stack for 8012.
Hey?
We have Fathom and Herby from Emotional Damage, our Divine stack. Fa-
Oh,
fa-
Uh, yeah.
oh, it's such a
yeah,
shit
yeah,
house.
yeah. So
I'm
that's
here.
All right, and then we
I
have
can't
Kevin
see my chat.
from
I got
our
chest.
we have Kevin from Side Damage, and he's also on our TF2 team, Fall Damage TF2.
Hello.
So just thought I'd shoot a little podcast out there. Gonna try and do this weekly. Maybe even more. Probably not though. I don't care that much, honestly. um, so we have some very prestigious guests here. Um, Big in the 8012 community, very big, I'm sure, actually.
I don't
Depending
think
on who we're
anybody
talking
fucking
about.
knows me.
Well, no, you're saying nobody knows you?
Nobody knows me in 82 man.
Everyone knows Fathom.
Yeah,
Everyone
you're
knows.
you're a
Mid
big
laner.
everyone knows this guy. What the
ORG.
hell?
ace mid laner.
Don't be humble. Don't be humble.
You
You're,
said
you're on
don't
that
be humble.
you're on
Ace
that
mid laner.
one team that one time. Fall
Yeah,
something.
that one team, that one
Yeah. Also, like W
Oh yeah,
something
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Fuck
That
if I
fall
know.
damage team
Pot
that
of
won
greed or
without me.
something.
pot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
greed.
The fucking shit lords or some shit like that.
Hey,
I don't
to be
fucking know.
fair, Fall Damage hasn't won an 8012
Also,
tournament
is
since
this
season
PG by
17.
the way? Because I might be swearing a lot.
Fuck no.
Okay, hell
Fuck
yeah.
no.
Fuck them
Um,
all.
yeah, Fall
Yeah,
Damage
hasn't
hasn't won a tournament since season 17 of 8012, so I wouldn't say we're a very prestigious team, but yeah, we're like
Yeah,
EG, we're consistently there.
we're consistently
well,
I
there.
mean,
and now
honestly,
you've
PG,
like
they're like third
tripled.
place at everything. We're just like feeding.
Yeah, you've like tripled the chance of something getting
Of
through.
something getting through, yeah.
Right.
If anything, we
Other team.
Crusaders will make you proud.
Oh,
Especially when you have
yeah,
a bunch of kids,
definitely.
one of these kids will become a famous movie star and like pay your retirement, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
fund your retirement. So, just keep making them.
All the money in Dota, too.
Yeah.
You know,
Just win TI.
speaking of the Crusader team, I actually did want to touch on that. The Crusader team was actually like the big reason that the org was created, you know.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. I think it's, like, actually a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Like, having, like, I mean, it's kind of weird because I come from, like, a background of competitive TF2, and obviously, like, their newcomer division in RGL is, like, pretty different from like just Crusader Division and Dota. It's like interesting playing in both stacks and learning the ins and outs of both games and like the kind of competitive nature of both of them are very different.
Yeah, I think we definitely have a good team chemistry. We have a little bit low average MMR, but we're working on bringing that up before the season
Yeah.
starts. But I think we're on track to do well. So
I think by the 8012 calculator, you guys are actually like negative 6.5 points or something like that.
yeah, well, I mean, some of us have been going up in rank a little bit, and I mean,
From like some people.
our team motto, yeah, Herby, yeah, our team motto, MMR is just a number.
It's just a number.
I think it definitely indicates something, but I think we also have some great team play. So
Yeah.
I
And
think,
also like it's also important to note that we have like Marguerite doesn't really play ranked, but she's on the stack and I think she plays well beyond Guardian 1.
yeah, I think that yeah, I definitely think that if we go up against a team with like more skilled individual players, but they don't have good team play, then I think we'll win. Like no
Yeah,
matter what.
the biggest thing, especially for a new team, is just like being positive and having good team chemistry because everyone can learn to get better at Dota, but you can't really. It's much more difficult to learn to have a better attitude
I
and
think
Yeah.
like, get along
It's
with each other.
I think that doubles for lower MMR stacks too, because it's a lot easier to get better at something that you're not really good at, you know. Like Divine stacks will have harder time getting better at a game because they have to focus on a lot of the small things. But when you're at
yeah.
the Crusader level or even like Archon Legend, the higher you get, the harder it's going to get to be better. So if you have it's all about mental attitude at
Oh
that
yeah.
level.
Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's a long way to go up and it's easy to go up as opposed to being like very difficult. So I get what you're saying.
I'm a
Yeah.
shit stain ancient again, man. So what do I know?
Oh, don't do that to
Oh.
yourself, bro. We're all dropping right
I'm
now.
a shitlord divine now, so yeah, I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
From immortal to
Sad.
divine, from divine to
Mhm.
ancient. Oh, I think Doc's about to drop the legend, except he doesn't play ranked. So
Road to 1K. Road to 1K.
Doc's
Oh,
ancient
boy.
1 right now.
Hey, on the bright side, I went up from like what was it like a couple weeks ago? It's like Guardian 3. I'm Crusader 1 right now. Had some bad games for a couple games, but I'm back on track. Probably
Yeah.
gonna keep going up a bit. So
To the moon.
here's hoping.
The moon, yeah.
Yeah, but back to the Crusader team actually is the reason that this org exists, because I wanted to do it for the longest time because I knew I wasn't going to be able to play this season, and then I ended up being able to play, and I'm not going to be on a team, but who cares. But aside from that tangent, it's like as soon as you guys expressed interest in wanting to play, I was like, all right, it's go time. And literally overnight, I created all the logos, I created the Discord, I did everything. Like instantly, I was like, yes, this is exactly
Did
what I
they
want to do.
ever? Did they ever express interest, or did we just kind of shove them into
I
it?
mean, we
I
kind of were like, Jacob brought up the idea, and we were down.
Yeah,
I
I was like,
remember
yeah, I'll do this.
prodding them with a
Well, yeah,
lot of
it's actually
tiny
funny
sticks.
because a few months ago they didn't play Dota at all, but now they're playing on a competitive team.
I mean, obviously I used to. Yeah,
Yeah, I
just
used to,
wasn't
yeah.
playing that much at that time. But yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. We honestly, Side Damage Crusader seems to be the one we've had the least problems with for the most part. We had one player that we were thinking about having that didn't really work out, but we were already a little bit iffy. But then we immediately found a replacement that works perfectly.
Yeah,
And the rest of us have all
Marguerite
played
and
before.
the UMN Dota is really coming in clutch there.
Yeah, but like most of us have played like a good amount together already, so we're not actually having that many problems with it.
Yeah, we like 4 of us are like pretty close friends, and like our fifth is pretty PMA and pretty chill. So we all like each other, and I'm excited to like get some scrims going and get maybe officials when those start. But that's not going to start for quite a while, I believe.
You
Yeah.
know, now that you bring it up, it actually is quite funny that all the different teams are kind of just different groups of friends that I've had. It's
I mean,
like
yeah.
the side damage team is like all the goons, and then the fall damage team has been my competitive team for years now, and then the emotional damage team is pretty much just Fathom's friends, my brother's friends. It's just like a
Hmm.
bunch of people he's met through competitive play.
Sort of.
And me, yeah.
Yeah, Herby.
Yeah.
And Herby.
I
He
mean,
just kind of
they're
showed
all
up
my
one
friends,
day.
but like I don't know.
True,
It's
true.
like they're more so just the team I dragged over because what we have Naya and Frodo that just came from Pot of Pride was me. Iki wants to be on the team, but he's taking a break season for other like extraneous stuff that's going on with him. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good thing though, because all of these teams have like they're all none of these teams are new per se. Like they're all like, yes, they're
yeah,
new teams, and yes, it's a new organization, but none of the players have like no experience with the team.
Yeah, and that's something like I find kind of crazy about top level Dota is like getting into a team that you'd like just don't know the players is
Yeah.
like very different from like having like a stack of friends that you're playing with.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's like pretty big advantage to like actually know that you enjoy being around the people you're playing with, as
I
opposed
played
to
with
just like
I played with fall damage on intermediate for one season. Then I like hopped over to WSS where I met a bunch of people over there. Then I got picked up by a divine team, which I also knew nobody on that team going into it. I think this last season was like the first season in a while that I've like actually formed it with some friends of mine that I've met. But
I mean, out of curiosity, how was that team that you like didn't know anyone on? How was that like transition experience?
it was I don't know. You definitely feel like the when you
Odd one
transition to a
out.
team like that. It's not so much the odd one out. The that first team where I went down with no knowing anybody, nobody really knew each other, and you can kind of
Ah,
feel that like there really wasn't that chemistry built up
it was just
between
we're here to
anybody.
play Dota. We're not here to have fun, you know.
Sort of. I mean, we all got along pretty well, but I could also tell too that our play styles just didn't match all that well
Yeah,
either. So it was a rough season. We dropped
Yeah.
out of playoffs almost immediately.
I mean, yeah,
The second team I joined though, where I didn't know anybody, at least there was like some foundation. Like the other 4 players, or 3 of the other 4 players knew each other pretty well already, right? Like,
Okay, so yeah.
and that was a pretty good. We made a 3rd place finish in the Divine
Ooh.
bracket.
That's good.
Congratulations. Yeah, that is really good.
I suppose not this season, but the season prior. Like, and that was my first time in Divine too, as the Divine 1 player. Like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I don't think anyone wouldn't take 3rd place. 3rd place is pretty fog.
as
For
we
EG,
were
that's all they
saying
can
though,
take.
yeah, as we were saying before, like it can be hard even if you have a bunch of like individually skilled players, it can still just like not work out on a team, like with EG right now. There's a lot of really good talent on that team, and I really wanted them to do well, and they're not doing very well.
I don't hope this can be a running theme throughout this entire podcast, so we just rip on EG.
We've done it
Rip on
what,
EG.
twice now already?
Which is funny because our head of organization loves EG.
Fanboy.
I've actually turned into more of a Four Zoomers fan. I didn't realize Moo was on that team. I'm a huge Moo fan, but EG and Four Zoomers are tied right now in the DPC. So
Yeah.
not that this season really matters much because of the major cancellation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
I mean,
transition, buddy.
yeah, good segue.
Good segue.
But yeah, it's I mean, obviously you have more info about that. You've been more involved in it, Jacob. But like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely understand why it happened, but I feel like it definitely a decision could have been made earlier.
Oh yeah.
Instead of like
For sure.
right now, because right now
Yeah.
it just makes it way more difficult for everyone else. And obviously, Valve didn't want to make the decision right now, but they definitely could have done it like earlier. They could have seen this sort of stuff coming instead of waiting for the last minute. And I feel
I
like that's
actually
probably
forget. Are they running an online major or are they just canceling it completely?
As
Canceling
of
it
now, they're
completely.
canceling it completely, but they did release, what was it? Oh, they released something. It was like a statement somewhere saying that they were thinking about trying to get like a hotel rented out for like all the players to come to and just play online there. But the biggest reason that the tournament was canceled in the first place is that there's like there's the restrictions, especially in like China and that region, like Eastern Europe, that
Oh,
that
yeah.
type of area, where getting back into the country after leaving would be very difficult.
Mhm.
Like if PuckChamp from Eastern Europe was to make it to the major, I think they have players from Kazakhstan or something like that, where they
Oh,
just
yeah.
wouldn't be able to get back into the country afterwards or something.
And
Yeah.
you know, like I think in the age of COVID, it like yeah, live esports is really fun and is a really good experience, but I think most events should be planned to be online, especially with
didn't
like
we?
Omicron, and
Yeah,
that sort of stuff.
didn't we already see some of this stuff happening with the TI actually? Because I'm pretty sure I heard something about like Filipino players not being able to get back.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were stuck in Romania for a
Yeah.
little bit.
And,
So-
and- yeah, and it's kind of just a big FU to your players, you know, that are playing at your event when you're like, you basically have to come to this event and you might not be able to come home because of COVID. And, you know, that problem is completely avoided if it's an online event. So,
I mean, like
I'd say
obviously,
yes and no. The problem with online events though is that you can't have players playing
True.
on ping, right? Like
you can,
Yeah.
yeah, this is very true, very
Yeah.
true.
it's like I could see like regional tournaments being fine. where
Regional
you have,
tournaments,
like,
yeah.
Like majors
International
are supposed to
tournaments,
be
yeah.
international stuff, yeah. So
Yeah.
you can't really do that. But
I still feel like not having it in the first like at all is definitely something that could have been avoided if they just saw the writing in the wall and they said like we're going to do some sort of online thing, even if there's some issues or it's like we have to figure something out. It's better than not having it at all because we waited until the last second and now we don't have a plan. Like,
yeah.
granted,
Yeah,
the
but I
plan
don't
B would be
necessarily think-
nice, but plan Bs also cost money. So
I mean, the thing is, like, I Plan B is also cost money, but like running an online tournament, at least in my limited knowledge, would be significantly easier and cheaper than an in-person one.
I suppose, yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
all the infrastructure is already there, you literally just need to utilize it.
At the end of the day, I feel like that everyone's just kind of come to a like agreed consensus that we'd like to see like more forerunning transparency with Valve and
Oh
like how
yeah,
they're
I mean,
and they've been like this for years too. This isn't
yeah,
like
they really just need to lay it on the table of like, this is our
Yeah.
plan, this is what we're
Again,
gonna
it's
do, instead of
like
being like very secretive
Yeah.
about it all. It's kind of weird.
instead of them being like, "Hey, we're doing this in person," and people are like, "Hey, there's some problems popping up. What's going on, Valve?" And Valve's like, "Oh, we're still doing it in person. Don't worry, we're still doing it in person. Never mind, we're not doing it.
Never mind. Yeah,
Not doing it at all, actually. Except maybe a tiny bit if we feel like it."
but yeah, I certainly hope we get a major. It'll be very fun to watch, but I'm not crossing my fingers too hard for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I'll
one of the biggest things with it was more so like the fact that they canceled this major. Like teams playing in the DPC were building up to this, and DPC points are balanced around there being a major here, and they're just kind of distributing it to future majors, whereas teams might not be
Yeah.
as strong on those other patches that have done well in the DPC so far. But it's hard
Yeah.
to say what you should do with
Yeah,
those points because if you just give it to the teams that were doing well in the DPC, you know, like Alliance did well in DPC last year, but they didn't do well at majors. So how do you distribute those points? You know?
yeah. This is like the awkward thing where it's like you just want them to play, but you can't really do an international online tournament, and
Yeah.
it's a very awkward situation for to be put in.
Yeah. I was gonna ask how they're gonna balance, because like obviously pro circuit points have impact on TI, so it's like how are they gonna deal with that? But I figured they'd do something like reallocating them to other majors, but still, as you were saying, like that's not that great of a solution.
I will say
Yeah,
my one worry about allocating it to other majors though too is that you're putting a lot of weight onto like a small number of events at that point if you're just pushing them on and on, right? Like what happens if this happens with the next major too, right? Are you just gonna
this is
push
true.
those points onto the last major and then basically that's the only event that matters before TI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I'd say we
I
go
just
back to when Valve just invited people to TI with that no reasoning to it whatsoever.
For no reason.
They just they decided which ones they like. Like some guy at Valve is like, "What teams have I heard of in the last 6 months?"
Teams have I heard
They
of.
don't
That's
even
pretty much
watch
what it
competitive
was, yeah.
Dota. They're just like, oh, I've heard of Liquid before.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
bring
was like a
Liquid in.
legitimate
Dude,
problem
Navi,
with that
invite
whole system.
Navi. They won that one. Invite Navi.
Yeah.
Simpler times.
Simpler times, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is kind of because like the brilliant thing about esports is how uh what's the phrase? The only thing that comes to mind is democratic, but I know that's not right. Where it's a meritocracy, you know, where you can like make it to the big tournament even if you're not sponsored by like a big org. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have a much more difficult time, but if you have the skill, you can like work your way to it. It's not like traditional sports. You need the backing of a big org,
Like
but
DPC does have open quals to like
Yeah.
towards the beginning of the season
Yeah.
to just get into the circuits. So like
Well, that's the thing. Like you can play your way up. Like again with Cinderella's story with OG in 2018. Like they again, No-Tail was left without a team, and he had to put one together, and then they had to fight their way through again. So like instead of getting an invite, but they did it, and then they won. So it's definitely something that can happen if your players are good enough and you have good enough coordination.
Yeah. So it's like definitely an awkward spot where the meritocracy of it all isn't exactly being threatened, but it's just kind of in an awkward spot where you're boiling it down to only a few tournaments instead of what is normally anticipated. So
And you'd think that esports would be like the least impacted sport out of everything for like COVID and restrictions and stuff, but actually there's a lot of stuff that happens on the ground that you actually
yeah, I mean
need.
the thing about like traditional sports is they make way too much money to not like they'll deal with COVID, like they can
it's part of the
afford.
reason too we got like the TI was originally postponed back in August, right? And it was pushed into October because it wasn't recognized as an actual sporting event. It was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only
Because
reason we weren't able to get the visas we needed to get everyone over.
they because I mean with traditional sports they can test those guys like every single day to know if they're sick or not. You can't really do that with your esports players. Like there's just not enough resources in it. which is unfortunate. But I mean, also kind of crazy that its online video games are getting very much impacted by COVID.
Yeah, I feel like general consensus here with the major thing is pretty much, yeah, it sucks, but what are you gonna do about it? You know, it's like there's multiple routes they can go with the solutions, but none of them are perfect, and there isn't a good solution here really.
One thing I
Yeah.
would like to say though too before we like close off on this topic is like the prize money too, because I know a lot of people have been like
Yeah.
really upset about that.
Mhm.
How Valve is basically like keeping the money. We don't know what's happening to it, right? And there's a, I think this idea has been thrown around too that by a lot of people where you just like split the money among all the players that qualified.
Maybe I don't know.
Sort of like as a way to like fund them though. Like it kind of sucks if you're like building up to this tournament and suddenly your like source of income is just gone, right? Like as an org, you're
Yeah.
not getting paid, so you can't pay your players. These players are basically just sitting around waiting for something to happen at this point.
This is true. This is
Especially
true.
because players don't get paid shit for playing in the DPC seasons.
Oh yeah, no.
Like I think the first place gets like $30,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Granted, a lot of organizations will have like salaries for them still.
yeah, but Quincy Crew
not-
is
it's not
top in
all that
NA,
much.
right? Quincy Crew's top in NA. They don't get paid shit.
They don't.
Oh, yeah.
They don't. They're
Yeah.
not an org. They're player owned. They're not gonna get anything out of this. And like, they're getting $30,000 to play for what 3 months? That's
Oh yeah.
$10,000 a month, split 5 ways. Not to mention that they probably have like management or something to pay.
Oh yeah. So that's
So
like
they're
yeah.
working. They're paying. Or they're playing. They're like playing for entertainment's sake. And Valve's making money off of them, and they're getting paid what, like $5 an hour or something like that, if
Yeah.
even.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why
yeah.
just bottom line is just keep it fair to players too. Just like split it among everyone who qualified. That way, at least everyone's getting something.
I mean, like, and it kind of goes into like kind of a larger question about esports where because we're esports is growing pretty fast. We're getting like the money that we need to in it, but obviously we need to pay our players fairly. But it's hard to do that while keeping like the meritocracy still intact, because like you get the bigger orgs involved and they're gonna want more say. But this is pretty off topic. I just thought it was
There's
Food
no
for
such
thought.
thing as off topic
food
with the
for
Damage
thought.
podcast.
No, off topic at the Damage podcast.
That
Food
doesn't
for
exist.
thought there, because that's definitely going to be a problem in the future. At least I think so. As more people see money in esports.
Yeah.
Speaking of
something else.
reoccurring problems, Valve has been lacking communication as always. But the biggest thing about it is what's the new development in this was the fact that they told professional teams that their line of communication shouldn't be Twitter and then to Valve. It should be straight to Valve. But the problem is that Valve isn't responding. Right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but there was one team where they had players that like wouldn't be able to make it to the major or something like that when it was still planning on going on, and they like were constantly trying to contact Valve like in a panic, like, hey, this isn't gonna work for us or something like that, or like
Yeah.
we need your help getting visas to get to this country to be able to play in this major, and Valve just was radio silence, right?
Yeah.
And then it was like the EG someone or another tweet that went out about it, and like Valve just complete radio silence from them, and it's like you want us to come to contact you, but you're not there when we need
Not
you.
going to answer. Yeah.
Not gonna answer, yeah. And that's I think that's like a broader problem with Valve as like a company, because they have like pretty bad like communication with their fans and their players.
Their PR just
Like
isn't great.
PR is not great over at Valve, and I mean, I don't think they invest a lot into PR, so it makes a lot of sense why their PR is not great. But if you're going to be running these multi-million-dollar tournaments, you kind of expect a level of professionality from the tournament organizer. Set aside that they make the video game. If you're a tournament organizer, you need to have responsibility there.
Yeah, I definitely think Valve needs like that again. Their whole MO for a long time has been like secretive, like, oh, we'll tell you when we want to tell you about stuff, like about their new game releases and things. But that doesn't really work when you have teams that need you to talk to them right now when you're trying to organize an event in real time. Like you just can't do that. You have to have some sort of communication. We can't just pick and choose one.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, so we're gonna move on from shitting on Valve too much now, I think. Let's talk about Smurfs. Let's talk about Smurfs. What do you guys think of Smurfs?
I don't like him.
I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan.
I'm guilty of smurfing due to the fact that I am a pretty high ranked player, and to play with I have Herald friends that if I were to queue with them on my main account, it would be like I would actually be ruining everyone's games. But with at least with them smurfing, I would ruin the enemy's game, but my friends and I would have a little bit of fun. I'm not proud of it, but
I
just to
think
have a couple games with my friends.
I think the best way to tackle this conversation is to talk about the reasons for smurfing. First off, if you're smurfing in ranked, like what the fuck are you doing? You're just a degenerate.
Yeah.
Like I think that doesn't need to be said. If you're smurfing in ranked, what the fuck are you doing?
And that's not to excuse smurfing in unranked, but smurfing in ranked is like
Smurfing in
uber terrible.
unranked, there's an argument there. We can talk about that.
I wouldn't say there's that great of an argument though, because people's arguments are usually, well, my queue times are super long, and it's like, well, I mean, tough. Like, you don't get an excuse to ruin someone else's game for that. And in the same vein, it's the like, oh well, again, like as Herby said, like, oh, I just want to play with my friends, and it's like, again, like, yeah, obviously I understand that reasoning, but then like, I don't know, though, like. It's still, you're ruining someone else's game, like the whole other team's game, just making it impossible for them to win. Really, like it doesn't really. I don't know. It's not appropriate, I guess. But then you have the like, those are like the Smurfs who know what they're doing, and that's their excuse. Then there's like the delusional excuses, like, oh, well, I'm teaching you, I'm helping you learn by playing against me.
BSJ moment.
Educational Smurfs.
Education.
Yeah, no, that I don't think that needs to be said because like getting dumpster does not teach you very much of anything. Like the best way to learn a game is to have like a more experienced player like coaching you. That's how it's done.
Especially because of a Smurf, like Smurfs just fuck around in their games, so they're like, you can't just watch them and be like, oh, that's how I'll do it, because you'll have like a lich mid with weird ass items, and he gutter stomps the other enemy team, and it's like, well, you can't do any, like, you don't learn anything from that. That's not how you should play lich, but they're able to get away with it because they're
there might be an argument for like a lower skill team playing with a higher skill team against a higher skill team, because then your team play the coordination. If everyone's trying, you can learn a little bit about the game that way. But if it's a Smurf with 4 other shitters, the Smurf just, it doesn't matter how the Smurf plays because there's 4 other people in the game. It doesn't matter how well they coordinate or how well they push because there's 4 other like dipshits there that aren't really playing at the Smurf's level. So you're not going to learn much.
I'd say yes and no to that, but that's its own other tangent.
Yeah, I think the best way I've ever heard the Smurf argument described is by Fathom Dota right here.
I mean, I tell people this too, is that like, when you play Dota and you like start finding a match, as soon as you hit that find match button, right, you're agreeing to the social contract that you're going to be playing with the same rules as everybody else that hits find match. And that includes like, I'm not going to use scripts and cheat, right? And along that same similar vein, I'm not abusing the matchmaking system so that my like MMR is either higher or lower, because this goes on account buyers too. You shouldn't be buying accounts that are higher ranked than your own.
Well, I think that's another needs not to be said because it's just, you're ruining people's games that way.
Yeah,
but again, I still think
it's about the social contract.
Yeah, I still think it applies to unranked though, because obviously, like, again, so I said like, oh, it's unranked, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, but in the same vein, ranked doesn't matter either. Like, you're like, Dota ranked isn't going to like change your life. Like 99.9% of people are never going to get anywhere close to being a pro. So it's like, well, your rank doesn't technically matter, but it's like, yeah, but that's the fun of the video game is having a fair in between, or like having a fair play between the two. So in the same vein, I feel like it matters in the extent that like you want to have a fair game. So like, I don't think smurfing in an unranked is okay just because it's like, well, you're not gaining or losing like visual MMR from that, or like gaining or losing rank. I still think it's not fine.
I
Typically, what happens when
agree
there's a
with the
Smurf?
part with the unranked. However, like with they're both games, like you're trying to, you're playing to win probably, right? And you just want to have a good game. But at the same time, I think it's with the you never mind. Sorry, John. You can go.
You're good. I just want to throw it on a tangent too that typically it's the team that is like winning that is usually having fun. Like there's a correlation between winning a game and enjoying Dota, right?
Technically, yes.
It's not always like that. Like you can still lose
Yeah,
games that are enjoyable.
yeah.
You can still win games that make you feel like shit. But more often than not, you tend to enjoy the games that you win and you dislike the games that you lose. When you play against a Smurf, you're more likely to lose and less likely to win. So, and when you play as a Smurf or with a Smurf in your party or whatever, you're more likely to win, less likely for the to lose. But where am I going with this? It's when you don't let the matchmaking system determine what would be like a close 50-50 as to who will win, you're basically saying that my time is more important than my opponent's time, right? By queuing with a Smurf, rather.
Yeah,
That's what it comes down. It boils down to that, at least.
Somewhat, yeah.
I definitely see that, because again, like theoretically, once you reach your actual rank where you're 50-50 at, then on average every game's a 50-50 chance. So you have a 50-50 chance of like enjoying the game or losing the game, and that's just how competitive online multiplayer games work. Like you can't really get around that. But if you have a Smurf, or if you have an account buyer even, then that just weights it one way or the other, so it kind of throws it off. Like you could have a lot of players who don't deserve to lose a game, and you're just robbing them. You're robbing them of that. And also it can throw stuff off. Like I don't think it throws stuff off to a huge degree, but it can throw stuff off where, like, let's say someone's underranked at a lower level and they're going up, and then they lose a game that they shouldn't have lost just because they're playing against a Smurf, and it's like, well, that makes it take longer for everyone to reach their average rank.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't really see that as a great argument because, yeah, Smurfs will never keep you at a lower rank than what you deserve. You just play the game more.
Again, I don't think that's like on an individual thing. Like there's not enough Smurfs out there to be like, oh, I can't get up high enough because I have a Smurf. That's not a good excuse. Like, yeah, there's not nearly enough Smurfs for that to be an actual thing. But it does, like, it on some scale it does cause like minute issues with that, where like, okay, well the person's next game, they're like underranked, they're gonna play, and then the people on the other team get stomped, and it's like, well, like I don't know. I just don't even see. I don't see any like actual reasonable argument for why you should Smurf, or like why it's fine or anything. Like even in unranked, I just like I think
I mean, like the one I kind of see as being okay is because it comes down to like what Fathom was saying, is like you're seeing your time as more valuable than other people's time. And it's kind of shitty, but if you're like, okay, I'm playing with my friends. I want my friends to have a fun game. And if I play on my main, I get shit on. I don't give a shit about these randos. My time and my friends' time is more important, so I'm just gonna Smurf.
well, again,
Like, you're being an ass, but like,
but I
are
think
you allowed to be an ass? That's kind of the question.
Well, I think the question isn't that. It's like, obviously you can have a lot of selfish reasons. Like just the most basic argument for Smurfing is like, I want to have fun. Is like, that's a selfish reason, but the point is of why it's wrong is like, yeah, but you're screwing everyone else over. So yeah, it's like theoretically works as a selfish reason, but that there's a whole reason why Smurfing isn't allowed, because it makes it suck for everyone else. And as Fathom was saying with like that social contract, like if you're violating that, you shouldn't be able to play the game. So like, I just don't think it's a good excuse at all, because you're still ruining other people's time, whether or not you're like, okay, well, I don't care about other people's time. And it's like, okay, then you don't get to play the game, because you have to be respectful to other people to be able to participate in this.
Because Dota players are known for being the most respectful people.
No, I know. Like, if people flame or whatever, but like that's still like, obviously, like flaming people can ruin a game. But like as John was saying earlier, I don't think there's anything in the game that's like, I don't know, worse than losing. Like obviously you can have like really bad harassment, but on the other hand, like
I would like infinitely much rather play against a Smurf than like a toxic player.
I don't know.
Well, I
more.
wouldn't, because you could just
I would
mute the
not.
toxic player.
Yeah, you
I
can just
guess.
mute them. Like you
There,
can just
there are
not care.
answers and systems in place that you can deal with those people. The report system works fine for people that are toxic.
Yeah.
Like you don't get a lot of feedback when you like get rid of a Smurf. Like you can report a
True.
Smurf, cool. They come back with a new account after that account is banned, and there's just another Smurf, right? Like there's no
Yeah.
effective system to keep them away.
Plus, it's really easy to get some like because a Smurf, it's like okay, if they're Smurfing like their account's one and done, it's like banned, and then they just come back with another account, and the whole process is repeated over and over again. Meanwhile, like if you have a toxic player, first of all, as Fathom was saying, it's way easier to catch those people. Like you just have a bot look at the chat logs up there being toxic, lower their behavior score, and then at that point, that just makes it less sustainable for that person to be toxic because they have to play in the low prio matches and they have a consistently low behavior score and stuff. So like I feel like it's definitely way easier to deal with that sort of stuff.
So Valve actually has taken a quote unquote hard stance against Smurfs. They like what was it, like 6 months ago or something like that? They were like,
Yeah.
Smurfs are not going to be allowed anymore, and then that was about it. They just pretty much said that they're not
Yeah,
allowed.
I mean, if you like it's weird to say, but I think like the only like actual way to get rid of Smurfs is making like Steam accounts like very hard to make.
I
Like
mean,
you
can't you
pretty
have, like
much you can
hardware
all
bans or something?
hardware bans as well. You could IP ban
bans like what
someone.
Valorant does.
IP
IP
bans
bans
suck
are a
though
little-
because like think about like apartment complexes that share a single
yeah.
router or something
Yeah.
like that.
That's why
Yeah.
it's they don't
Oh,
do
is that
it.
how that works? So like if someone hacks a Valorant and you're like they live in an apartment, the entire apartment is screwed.
It can be like
Yeah,
that.
that
essentially.
can,
Can be like
depending on
that.
the apartment complex, or like
I
if you're
mean,
trying to play like if you're trying to play at like a hotel off the hotel Wi-Fi or something like that, which would suck.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to.
I actually didn't know that.
I mean, yeah, there is a problem with hardware bans, but I mean there isn't a perfect solution.
There isn't, no.
But there's better solutions than like
Not doing anything.
nothing. Yeah.
It's more
You're
so
not
on,
doing
I feel like on the
anything, yeah.
community to try and police itself at that point.
Speaking of
which,
the community trying to
unfortunately,
police itself.
Like the Dota community sucks, so
Jacob's doing a segue.
Yeah, speaking of policing ourselves, the damage organization wasn't necessarily intended when it was made to be against Smurfs, but one of the biggest player rules is that as long as you are actively playing on a team, you are not allowed to Smurf. I feel like I probably will have people that won't want to be on my teams because of that, but I feel like in the long run, the community is gaining more than it's losing by me not allowing Smurfs. You know?
Yeah.
Like it won't be a huge impact, but maybe it
Any
will be.
action against Smurfs is good action, bro.
Yeah. That type of
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I don't know. Like
really does come down to
I still legitimately see like this selfish asshole argument as an actual argument, but you can like objectively realize that they're being a bad person.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Oh.
like if you want to be a selfish asshole, like less power to you. It is what it is. But
Yeah, just go play for someone else.
yeah, go play
Yeah,
League of Legends.
yeah, and I understand like the org stance, and I think it's generally a good thing. But you know, I do understand why people Smurf. It like makes sense to me.
No, I mean, I get why people do it. Doesn't make it right.
Not necessarily, no.
All right. I feel like we've gotten past a lot of the harder topics. We'll get into some more fun stuff now. I think we've gotten out everything we wanted to talk about Smurfing, right? Did anyone want to add anything on before we switched over to another topic?
No, not really.
All right. So I wanted as this is being recorded, Dota Dragon's Blood is currently 4.5 hours away from being released, I believe. Something
Which
like that.
I mean,
3.5. 3.5.
3.5. Do we have like confirmation on that? Because I just heard like the one article say it. Or has there been more sources? I haven't been
It's
keeping
Valve.
up on it.
They're not going to advertise shit.
No, they're not going to say anything.
It'll
yeah.
just be on Netflix one day.
It'll just show up. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be no warning. It'll just appear, and we'll all be happy, probably, maybe.
Just like Grimstroke.
You guys think it's going to be good?
I mean, the first one was good. You know.
I mean,
I
yeah,
watched the mood teaser thing. It looked okay. I got a lot of bad feedback from like the first season, but I really liked it. But that just might be my bias and the fact that I've
I
been
mean,
watching.
you know, it's interesting because most non-Dota players that watch Dragon's Blood aren't like huge fans. Which, like, obviously, like the most like obvious comparison to Dragon's Blood is Arcane, and actually that's a good question. Has anyone here seen Arcane?
No.
No, I haven't.
Not yet. I'm planning on it.
Yeah,
I heard
I'm planning on it as well, but I've
I
heard
heard
it's
the
good.
ratings were better than Dragon's Blood.
Dragon's Blood, yeah,
Especially
Yeah.
for
That's
people
what I've
who
heard
don't
as
even
well.
play League. I've heard
Yeah.
that was really
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I think
But-
that I think that one of the things for Dragon's Blood that's a little weird, because again, I haven't seen Arcane, but from what I've seen of it, it actually does look pretty genuine to like a lot of the League lore, which is interesting because Dragon's Blood, when it was first announced, I thought like, okay, it's going to be one of those things where it's set in the Dota universe, so there's like 4 Dota heroes, and then it's just something completely different. But it actually does tie in decently with some of the like Dota lore, which I was not expecting when I was going into the show.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, obviously it's different. You have like anime Dragon Knight, but like most of the stuff actually, yeah, but most of the stuff actually fits in with like Luna and Mirana and Invoker, and again, the show's been out for a year at this point, but like Terrorblade being the villain, I thought when I saw that, I'm like, holy shit, they made Terrorblade the villain. Like, I think that's a good choice. I did not think that out of all of the Dota heroes, that's who they were going to go with.
They sort of made him a villain. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It's also kind of weird because like Dota,
I don't even
there
know
are
if
really,
he
like,
was he really a
bad
villain
guys and
though.
good guys.
He's like evil. I don't
What
think
even
Terrorblade's
happened
going to
in
be
the
a
first
good
season,
guy.
actually?
At the end of the anime, like he
He was
takes
fighting
it, like,
Salamene though.
yeah, he was
Yeah,
fighting
but-
Salamene, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
like,
but
Salamania is kind of the main antagonist.
We don't
for
really
it.
know why. It
That's
was
what I'm
because
saying, yeah.
Invoker
He's the
earlier in the
main
series, he was
antagonist.
I
like,
just
I
had a
think-
flashbang. What even happened in season 1? Like, did anything even happen?
There's a bunch of
Uh,
shit. Luna committed genocide.
Oh,
Luna
yeah,
did
yeah.
actual genocide.
There-
she killed Finman's family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there,
Polygamous elves.
yeah, the
The
main thing I think with Terrorblade and that whole thing, which I'm actually pretty interested to look at, I think it was just a case of 2 villains fighting each other, and I think the reason for the difference is like Salamene definitely has this thing set up where like she's in control, she's doing that. Meanwhile, Terrorblade's more of just like a force of nature, like he's just like, I want to, I don't know, be evil or something, and he shows up and he mind controls people and kills people and shit. Like, I definitely don't think that they're gonna have an uneasy alliance with Terrorblade. I think Terrorblade's definitely building up to be like a big villain too. I think that
Mhm.
it's just like they have a conflict of interest because they both want to be in control of everything. So it's like, well,
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
you never know. Maybe like we'll get a backstory in Terrorblade and why he doesn't like Salamene.
Salamene,
like-
though, she was just manipulative, right? Like
yeah.
you can't even make like any sort of argument to make her a good character, right? It's
Oh
just
no, she's just
Yeah.
evil.
evil.
I mean,
yeah.
and one thing with like, I mean, I think we can all agree pretty much that like all the new characters the anime introduced were pretty good. Like people love Marcy, like Vimran's pretty good. Like there was that one steward for Dragon Knight who carried a sword one time in
yeah.
the first episode, I think, and that's all he showed up, but he was still listed in the credits.
Yep. I mean, like, beyond that, I think just characterizing like Dota heroes that had like a paragraph written about them, also pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
Dragon Knight feels like, yeah, he's Dragon Knight. Like, you can see the continuation of like you can tell that it's like the past version of, oh god, voice
Yeah.
crack, past version of the actual Dota hero. But you can also, tell that it's Dragon Knight, it's Luna, it's Mirana. You can like recognize the heroes not based on their personality as well as their appearance.
The one thing I will say, one thing I wasn't sure if I would like out of the trailer is, they're definitely framing the next season, at least with some of the stuff in the trailer, is more about like the inner conflict with Davion, which could be interesting. But there's also like, wow, we had some progress last season of like, okay, he's kind of one with Slyrak or whatever, but now it's just like, okay, we're gonna make the whole thing about, is Slyrak good or not? Is he gonna mind control Davion? And it's like, that is one way for it to go, but I'm way more interested in the whole plot with Salamene and Invoker and like the elves and shit like that.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of balancing both of them in the first season, so I would imagine they do a good job as well in the second.
the biggest problem with plot lines where it's like, oh, will Slyrak be good? Will he mind control? Is like, it's our main protagonist. You know that he's gonna end up like not the main protagonist isn't gonna like die or be mind wiped or something like that. Like I feel like those plots.
If you saw
don't really
a
work
recent
very well.
movie, that's not true. But
I mean, I don't
there
know.
were supposed to be
Like,
3 seasons, so
Yeah.
he's not gonna die.
I could totally see like Davion like going evil or something at the end at the third book.
Or
like it could be like a tragic tale. Like,
I mean,
it
the
doesn't
thing
have
is,
to
like,
have a happy ending, but definitely in this season, it's not gonna really happen.
I mean, Dota's like, I mean, in Dota, he has like Slyrak's voice, like that's the voice actor for him. So it's like, well, maybe that could happen. I just like it's. I'm not saying it's not like something that could or couldn't happen. I just do not think it's that interesting compared to a lot of the other plot threads. I think it's fine. I don't think it's boring. I just don't think it's as interesting. There was one other thing about the new trailer, which is so they prominently showcase Lena, which I think is cool. I think that's a cool hero to bring in to the show. But it reminded me of something, which might be why people who didn't even play League liked Arcane way more than people who didn't play Dota liked Dragon's Blood, which, like, Invoker's definitely an interesting character for sure, but he's way more interesting watching Dragon's Blood if you have the mythos built up of, like, Invoker in the game versus if you're watching the show, it's like, wow, he's some really strong wizard, and that's it.
This is very true. Knowing like he's a keeper of ancient memory magic, and that he forgot his own name because he made room for spells makes it a lot more cool. And like this character is like actually a badass as opposed to like, yep, he's a wizard.
Yep.
Big wizard in the big wizard tower.
Hell yeah.
On the talk of characters, though, I feel like there's a question that should be on everyone's mind. What's the next hero being added to Dota? Because more likely than not, it's going to be something from the anime, and I think there's
probably
there's like,
Fimrin.
I really want it to be Fimrin. Fimrin would make a great hero.
There's like 3 candidates that I can think of. Fimrin's one of them. There's also like things you could argue for both Kaden and I'd say Salamene as well. Like you could add Salamene as a hero.
Yeah, you could add it. I don't think Salamene would like be great because like her powers aren't really super established. Like she's just kind of a god.
Yeah.
You know.
But then again, there are 2 gods in Dota already. You got Mars and Zeus.
This is true. This is very true.
I definitely think Fimrin would be their choice, just already with doing Marcy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I actually believe this, but part of me like thinks that they originally wanted to have Fimrin as the hero, but Marcy just had got so much popularity that they ran with the Marcy hero instead.
That might very well be what happened, actually.
Because Fimrin is literally structured to be a hero in my mind.
Yeah, she has like power set and stuff, which is another thing about the show. I think it does well, but also a thing I think where it definitely caters to Dota players versus Arcane going out to be a show that is like a show that's set within League of Legends, but just a good show in its own right. Like, I'm not saying Dragon Ball's not a good show, but there's definitely stuff like, for example, if you look at the fight between Terrorblade and Salamene, Terrorblade literally just uses his skills from the game,
Dota,
which is really cool if you're a Dota player. I don't think anyone else would give a shit. If they're like watching it, they're like, wow, he's doing some demon stuff. Meanwhile, if you're like, I was watching, I'm like, holy shit, wow, he used like conjure image, he used like reflection, like he used like I think all of his abilities. I don't remember if he used Sunder in that fight, but he used like a lot of stuff. I also like how he's kind of 3D animated when everyone else is mostly 2D.
Sunder, I barely know her.
Barely know her. Yeah.
On that note, too, I also raised my Terrorblade win rate by 9% last night. That was kind
of who asked?
Okay. Who asked?
Yes. Time to segue to the Johns.
Who the fuck asked?
Yeah, time to segue to the Johns win rates.
Yeah, John, what are all your win rates now that we're fucking here?
Because we're going to you're a medalist of the ancient variety and not of the divine variety.
We were going to discuss my win rates. What?
Yeah, bro. What's your win rates now that you're in the ancient bracket?
I don't fucking know. It's probably below 50, and I'm sad.
Yeah, because you're always below 50 because you suck.
Anyway, Herby, you're gonna say something about Dragon's Blood.
I don't recall, but I did watch the entire thing like 5 times.
Oh, 5? That's what.
Yeah, I watched it like every episode.
I watched it once.
If you want, I could give you a summary, basically just from the top of my head. But that sounds Resident
I don't.
Evil. That
I
sounds
think
Resident Evil.
most. I think most
Yeah.
people have seen it that
Yeah.
would be watching this.
Honestly,
so.
I don't remember a single thing that happened in that show aside from like I don't remember anything major. Like I remember the plot beats, but I don't remember like did anything happen at the end of that show? I feel like it just kind of ended. You know, I feel like it
Okay, basically,
there was stuff.
Salamene, the love me part with the "Do you love me" from the
But I
fucking
feel
asshole.
like nothing
and Milker.
completed. You know.
Well,
Well,
it's because it's supposed to be
There's 2
3.
more seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but
There's
it's kind of like when the last Harry Potter book got split into 2 movies. It's just kind of like you watch the first movie and it's like, what just happened? Did something end here? Like I'm actually just getting scared.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be ramping up tensions for something that happens a year from then, which is it's a little questionable, but I guess it works out. But I definitely do what you're saying if there's not that much resolution, but there is some interesting stuff that sets up, like I don't know, Davion and crew are going on an adventure.
Maybe, probably. Who knows?
I'm pretty sure Murano was doing something with the like Dark Moon, but then I definitely think the most interesting thing was conflict with Terrorblade and Salamene, seeing where that goes, because Terrorblade showed up for 3 seconds at the start of the season, and then in some like brief scenes in other episodes, and then he actually was a character in the final episode of the season, and he's kind of setting the stage for him to actually do stuff in season 2. So we'll find out really soon, but I definitely think that's like the plot thread I'm most interested in seeing what happens with.
That is fair.
We have gotten a lot more out of that topic than I thought we would. I thought it would just kind of be like a quick one-off type thing. Like we talked about this for like 5 to 8 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Dota, don't let me down. If this season of Dragon's Blood sucks, I'm uninstalling.
I'm uninstalling.
No, like Harry
Empty
player.
thread. We know that's an empty thread. You'll be back.
No.
Where will I find another Crusader carry player?
Okay, no. Here's a premonition that'll actually come true. If it sucks, Herby's gonna drop down to Ancient.
Yeah. This is factual. I may drop down regardless, but who the fuck knows?
Do you guys collect anything? Do you guys big collectors?
I am not a collectioner.
Not really.
Really?
Not much.
Not one of you collect anything?
I mean, I like
cards.
Yeah, I like casually collect Pokemon and Magic the Gathering cards, but I don't know.
Oh, when I was like a teenager, every time my mom, they're still there. Every time my mom got me like a Steam gift card for like a birthday or like Christmas or something, I put it in my desk drawer. They're still there. So if I ever open my desk drawer and she's there, she gets to be disappointed in how much money she spent on me for like Steam over the years. There's just
awesome.
there's a couple. I haven't gotten rid of them because like why would I? I might as well just have the pile on my desk. But they are all there, and there's a lot.
That's so awesome, actually. Oh, I remember me and my brother used to like suck at cleaning off our desks. So like after Christmas, we just have like a shit ton of Steam gift cards piled up on our desk. You remember that, John?
Silence.
All right, John has had a
from
brain
John
blast.
Fathom. Brain blast.
Sorry, I was watching a clip from the season 1 Dragon's Blood, just trying to recap something.
All right, another segue.
I didn't even get to talk about the thing I wanted to talk about.
Damage Among Us. Are we no metagaming? No, do your fucking tasks.
Herby.
We're in the middle of a podcast, Herby.
Sorry.
There's I just counted. There's like 25 cards.
All right, G next.
25 cards. Are they all like $20 ones?
I did not look at what they are. The top one is 20.
Okay.
There's a couple 20s. Okay.
The most left? Didn't we cover everything we wanted to talk about with the podcast?
No, there's still the individual topics.
Kill me.
Oh yeah.
Wait, could you name them?
Let's get into those.
I wanted to quick wrap up the collections thing. I wanted to brag about my Cluckles collection of current.
Oh yeah. But we still have the individual topics, but you still want to brag about the fucking
424 chickens. 424 chickens strong. I think I own the most Cluckles of anyone in the world.
This is real, by the way. This guy's not joking.
Also, shout out to the Cluckle salad.
Oh yeah, Cluckle salad. That was big.
Cluckle salad. That was good.
For those who don't know, Dota Mom for gift Marguerite. on the side damage team hosted a we'll call it a get together for a bunch of the Dota people in the area, and I made an amazing Cluckles salad, which is a chicken salad, but Cluckles.
Yeah,
Because
it's Cluckle salad.
Yeah, so
Did you get these Cluckles from your own inventory, or just like you found them randomly?
They were free range Cluckles.
yeah,
Oh, free range
free range
Cluckles. Oh,
Cluckles from
those
the
are the
Herby
best,
farms.
like-
From the Herby farms.
Oh,
I think
I
you
don't think
also
I'd let
took
you take any of my Cluckles, but you know, it's
I think
fine.
you took some teriyaki Cluckles from that I was supposed to eat at dinner. I ordered them, the all you can eat, and someone ate my teriyaki Cluckles.
Who could
I
it
don't
be?
know who, you know.
I don't know.
Oh no.
But that's, by the way, that's over $120 worth of Cluckles at this point.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, $80 of that is in 2 Cluckles alone.
You know how many
God.
boxes of ramen I could have bought with it?
But and then on top of that, I also collect
G
playing
Fuel.
cards. But that's besides the point. The
When do you
Cluckles,
think you will liquidate your backpack from Cluckles?
that doesn't happen.
Oh, it will never
Yeah.
happen. Okay.
Yeah,
Never.
Chickens don't turn into liquid. Fucking idiot.
It'll be in his will.
Yeah.
All of the chickens that were gifted to me from Herby returned to Herby.
How many is that? Like 50? No, more than that.
Dude,
Right? Like
you
100.
gave me like 200 or something like that.
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah. I nuked the market.
I think you have given me
Market.
like at least half of my Cluckles that I have.
I wouldn't doubt it actually. I remember that period in the summer where I'd like it was like a 2 month long project where because you couldn't gift more than 8 at a time, and I wanted to gift them to you because I had my name on them and like a dedication, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I ended up trading like half of them to you anyways.
I think my girlfriend has like 100 Cluckles to give to me still or something too.
Damn.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Right now you're just letting them fester in the market, right? Like you just put offers out for 3 cents and when someone okay.
But we will now, upon popular request, move on to the individual topics. We have 2. They shouldn't take too long. Actually, this one might take a while. Maybe we'll save this for another podcast. But we'll get to the individual one for Herby that I had. The one that we're skipping, by the way, for those wondering, was bad manners in 82L, such as sprays.
That'll
go deep, bro.
That can go deep.
that'll
We'll
take
save
a
that
bit.
one. We'll save that one.
Yeah.
We'll go with Herby. This is your individual topic. I wanted to know some weightlifting tips. You know, I know you're a pretty swole dude. You know, you go to the gym. How often do you go to the gym?
Okay, I used to go every single day apart from Sunday. But since COVID has come around and I've not gotten a thing from my doctor, and saying that it's medically necessary for me to go to the gym, never. But also I don't have reliable transportation to the gym. I have to take the bus, and right now there's a blizzard warning. But yeah, so not recently, not in the past 3 weeks, which has been completely miserable for me. But basically, I mean, starting out, right? I started working out like a long time ago. I would just like do push-ups and planks at home, body weight workouts, and I'll get like my body toned. So by the time I actually went to the gym, it was actually like not as daunting. Like I wouldn't like have to start with like 20s, like on the machines and stuff.
Okay.
I think the most important thing though is just like socially speaking, going to the gym is like no one's gonna look at you. Nobody cares enough to look at you, right? Like, I used to
maybe
like.
you, but me. You should see these guns.
Yeah, but like I would like go to the gym and like I would be staring at everyone like, oh, is he looking at me? He's judging me. But after a while, it's just like, who the hell cares? And we're like, you're gonna like by the end of the workout, you're gonna have no energy to even like you won't even have the energy to care if other people care about you, right?
Yeah.
And then it's really nice to have a workout buddy. Like that's one of the more important things as well. Is that being able to like because of being with someone else motivates you, right? It's like, yo, I don't want to be sitting here while my friend is working out, or like, yo, I want to be stronger than my friend, or like, or something like that, right?
Not even that. Like I'm just like whenever I do like exercise or stuff, it's always with somebody because
Also,
one,
it's a
I'm
lot
really
more fun just
unhealthy.
talking to him.
Yeah, it's just like a lot more fun doing it with someone. So you like feel like you get that social aspect because, like you were saying, like in the gym, nobody cares. You're not gonna make friends at the gym.
I will say I do think that I'm like if I'm doing like strength workouts, then I definitely want to like go with someone. That's way more fun. But on the other hand, if I'm like on treadmill or like doing cardio or something, going for a jog, I'm like in the zone. I'm listening to my music. I just like I just want to do that on my own.
Yeah.
But like strength workouts, 100%. I want to.
That's also
like,
a big thing I was gonna say with the cardio and the workout, just workouts in general. It's important to like understand, just like start low, like don't be too eager and like start, I want to be able to lift like 70s, dude. No, like start low and then you'll get to it. Like you'll see the most growth within the first month. Like you'll see more and more growth like every day, and then now like really motivate you. And by the time you don't see as much because your body's like used to it. You just like go every day because it's like habit and it feels good. But yeah,
Okay.
most of it is just just a mindset thing.
And how important is a healthy diet? Do you have a healthy diet, and what does that consist of?
I love how you made your voice sort of I don't know
A
how to
doctor.
It's my interview question.
It's my interview question.
Interviewer, dude. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. Every day it's either fish or meat and rice and a vegetable plate, like some sort of vegetable, like broccoli or bok choy, and then it's like white
The fuck's
rice,
a
and then it's
bok
like
choy?
it's some sort not some sort. It's a kind of vegetable. It's really
Well, I got
So
that
good.
much because you
Bok
said
choy's
vegetable
pretty good.
plate.
Bok
Yeah,
choy's pretty good.
just look up bok choy. BOKCHOI.
CEHI.
No, CHOI, not
I'm pretty
CHI.
sure that's
I
not
know.
even a thing. I think you're making things up now. I've
Herby is a
never heard
notorious
of,
liar.
I have never heard of bok choy.
That's actual cap. Have you left your? Hold on, let me look it up.
Have
See if
you
I'm better.
left
Have you
your
left your-
house?
No, bok choy. It's not without an I. It's not an I. It's a Y. Sorry,
That
I'm
doesn't
stupid.
change that. I've never heard of it.
Just look it up. Just like
Alright,
go
let
into
me
Google
see
right
if
now.
I've seen this thing before.
Yeah,
Amazing, you never
you've
heard of
definitely
it.
looked at it. If you walked into an Asian restaurant, you've definitely seen it. You've definitely laid your eyes on
I
this
like how
thing.
heated Herby's getting over
It
this
looks
whole
like a
bok
leech.
choy fiasco.
Yeah, it's a leafy vegetable. Absolutely.
It looks just like leeches.
Like, kinda, yeah. Oh, I thought you said leaves.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, kinda, yeah.
Leech?
Anyway,
Is that
so
how you
it's
spell
one of
it?
those. It's one of those two, or something else.
Vegetable.
And then for dinner,
Yeah,
it's
it looks
usually
like
the
a
same
leech.
thing. And I usually don't eat breakfast because I wake up so late. But that's like that. They don't have a demonic sleep schedule. That's not
So,
fine.
so in summary, what I'm hearing, Herby, go to the gym once a month, and your daily meal.
Stay there for like 2 minutes. Do like 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
Hit on some girls at the gym. I'm kidding. Please don't do that.
Yeah,
Please
and then you
never do that.
and then you have chips and soda, and that's your diet mostly.
Yeah, and
Alright,
don't.
that's
Yeah, pretty much, and never do any cardio. You just want to like lift like
Yeah, and
2 pound
go
weights.
alone.
Go alone.
Go alone.
Have a negative mindset. Go into the gym wanting to fail.
And
go
the
into the
timing
gym
doesn't
wanting
matter,
to
right?
Timing
Doesn't
doesn't matter. And
I
winter
don't
wyvern
immunity.
is hot.
PK spell immunity doesn't matter.
This is a
All right,
terrible
I'm gonna end
inside
this.
joke.
I'm gonna end this
This
shit
is
show
enough.
before it gets any worse. Thank you all for watching the first ever
Yeah, thank you,
Damage
my
Gaming
friends. Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you.
I'm sorry
Thank
you had
you.
to listen to 5 idiots ramble on about shit, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back for the next one.
I do come back, but not
Sayonara.
because of Bull, but because of me.